On this week's GTA 6 o'clock, GTA 6's third act,
Could you play as a third character in the past?
the Panama City Conundrum, Port Gellhorn has been taking inspiration from, and the GTA 6 box art revealed by us. And there we go, the GTA 6 official box art as revealed by GTA 6 o'clock. It's all here on this week's GTA 6 o'clock. Welcome to episode 92 of GTA 6 o'clock, the world's most in-depth and best connected GTA 6 show, coming to you, as always, from Los Santos. I am your host, James JJ Jarvis, and joining me is Dan DD Dawkins. Hello, Dan.
Hola.
We're back again. It's Wednesday. I hope everyone's enjoying your tacos as you listen to this episode. It's an exciting day today, Dan. There are only 230 days left until May the 26th. 2026, which means that in today's show, well, we're not talking about anything to do with the launch, but we are talking about some very good stuff. And I wanted to kick off this week with quite a big topic. I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to go into this, but it is the third act of the game, essentially, you know, beginning, middle, and end. We're saying 3 acts. The third bit, the end. And what happens, do we think, after you finish the GTA 6 story? Now, I'm going to throw this open as quite an open question, that if you were writing this story in the world of GTA 6, what's going to happen after the last mission? Like, do you envision a happy ending happening here? Or are you going to write one of the characters out? What would be your thoughts?
It's such a broad question. I guess I'll create some penning around it to stop the idea escaping too much. What I always start with is looking, I suppose, at what they've done to this point in previous games. And then I guess also to look at what they have revealed about the characters so far as a framework for thinking. Mm-hmm. There's also, I suppose, the third wild card is, over the last few years, you've probably seen various plot leaks around GTA 6. I don't feel strongly enough about any of them to have any comment on any of it. It feels all very loose and woolly.
Yeah.
So anything I say will be based on more what's been observed than what a rumor may or may not say, right?
Sure. And mostly this is purely speculation, right? All we really know is Jason and Lucia are in Vice City and some stuff's going to happen. Like, they're going to meet some people. They're going to rob some places. One of which is a bank that we've seen in the trailers. But aside from like the people, you know, the story and the character arcs, all to be discovered.
And I guess the thing to say that is true is that after a certain point, and let's say maybe GTA 4 is an inflection point, where Rockstar became more interested in storytelling, and they became more interested in player choice. So GTA 4 ends with, I guess, like, not ends with, the entire plot has got a series of decisions, binary moral decisions, where it's, you know, like I talked about the other week, it's, do you save Dwayne? Do you save Playboy X? What's the right thing to do? It's usually pretty clearly flagged. At the end of 4, you make a decision, I think, to make a deal or like the revenge mission. One of them, I think, is canonically better than the other. And largely because it's usually the ending that's more consistently true to the character's moral framework. Mm-hmm. And you can usually see that and feel it. So with 4, it was a 2-way choice. Probably fairly obvious which one it was. 5 took a different path. It was 3 choices. So your choice was essentially, like, as Franklin, you could choose to kill Trevor, you could kill Michael, or you could do the Death Wish mission, which, even though it was called Death Wish, was the only one that meant you definitely weren't killing one of your friends. So I was just watching a YouTuber who came to this mission recently, and he was saying, a lot of people have told me, I must choose option C. Yeah. But he said, actually, why would you consider choosing anything else? Like, this is the only one that gives you even a crumb of hope that everyone gets through this and survives. So that felt like that path, and that basically ends in a massive shootout, and every character to an extent gets a happy ending. It's like definitely the canon ending, the happiest of the possible.
They get a
journeys.
non-death ending.
Yeah, which I say, in the context of death, I mean, maybe not. If you're living a life of eternal torture, maybe death is better. In most situations, non-death is a good
Better.
outcome.
Yeah.
Right? It's a good
The
outcome.
happy ending.
So what I'm trying to say there is, if Rockstar have experimented with either quite a binary decision or even a three-way decision, but they've had a fairly clear, without shouting it, this is the right way to go.
Mm-hmm.
The way 6 is set up is, as far as we know, two main characters, suggesting a more sort of binary two-character path. The central theme, as we've talked about often, is this idea of like trust and collaboration. And I guess within that, you've got one character, Jason. What you got to look at, what's his motivation? What's his plot arc? For his character, what's a good ending? Where does he think he wants to go versus maybe the reality of where he does go? So he says, like, Jason wants an easy life. Things keep getting harder. He grew up around grifters and crooks. He had a stint in the army trying to shake off his teens, but he found himself in the Keys basically dealing drugs. It might be time to try something new. Now, there's something new. That's the ambiguity, right? Like, where's that going to go? And then what seems to be the decision, it says, again, it talks about meeting Lucia could be the best or worst thing to ever happen to him. Jason knows how he'd like it to turn out, but right now it's hard to tell. So this leads us down that path of, and I don't know what you think of that interpretation. It's like, he's a guy who's from trouble. It would make sense for him to seek a situation that's calm or like, rather than chaotic, lawful, possibly, maybe even literally lawful. And this is where maybe there's that conversation about, is he actually a Fed or working with the Feds or whatever? We don't know. We don't know any of that, right?
Yeah, but that would certainly be something new to go from a life of petty crime into, actually, maybe I'm going to stop some of this petty crime at some point.
So if you've lived in chaos, seeking, the law, framework, everything makes sense. Lucia, on the other hand, we talk about, she, fought as soon as she could walk. She ended up in prison fighting for her family, whether literally or not, we don't know. Sheer luck got her out. We've discussed that on the program. It says, Lucia's learned her lesson. Only smart moves from here. And he goes, more than anything, Lucia wants the good life her mom has dreamed of since the days in Liberty City. But instead of half-baked fantasies, she's prepared to take matters into her own hands. So for her, and it says exactly this, fresh out of prison and ready to change the odds in her favour, Lucia's committed to her plan no matter what it takes. So she sounds like the opposite. Like, she's almost like, it sounds a bit like, I want to get money. I want, whether it's status or whatever, she wants material, a life she never had.
And the smart moves for her are not getting caught, I'd imagine.
Yeah, you'd think so. And whether that, or whether it's just like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make a life better for my family, for me, to the extent to which I guess she's consumerist or about material things, we don't really know, but it seems like she's the driving force. Seems like she's the driving force of material lust, that petty crime. Jason's escaping from a life of crime. It seems like she's gravitating towards it.
Yeah, Jason wants the life of, I'm interpreting like a family life in a nice house, quite comfortable, just, living and having a great time down in Vice City. Meeting Lucia, she could be like, I can offer you this, but we do have to do some of those crimes before we get there.
Yeah, and this is where we don't know. There's clearly a very strong, like, chemical, physical bond between them, a relationship, which is what happens. Two attractive people meet, they're in a relationship. But are their primary motivations misaligned? And whether that is explicit or implicit, where they slowly grow apart as they do, Jason goes, I'll do it, but I don't really want to, but this. And I think the reason to say all of this is because it probably leads towards what's an interesting, and if you study film writing or script writing, there's usually the 7-act structure or whatever it is. And there's usually, every satisfying movie pretty much has what they call like an inflection point, where it's usually a character starts at a certain level. It's either in gaining in status or a loss of status. then a period of recovery where they build up to the thing they want to achieve or think they want to achieve. And at that moment, the way you create dramatic tension is by pulling the rug on. You watch every Pixar movie, right? There's like the 3/4 of the way through, there's a rug pull scene where they're at their lowest ebb and they have to decide, do they want to continue on the journey or not? And it feels good because they usually go, I have got the magic power. I can do this. My best friend isn't dead, blah, blah, blah. That's probably what you would do to create a satisfying story.
Mm-hmm.
What that will be in this context, we don't know. But I guess it's about the mutual coming together for whatever reason. Maybe it's misaligned motivations. Them, through the act of, I guess, doing crimes, reaching a flashpoint where they'll be asked to say, do I want to continue with either this path or this? I guess it'll come down to carry on this path, or do I want this relationship? Or is the person I said I wanted to be not the person I want to be? And then you get a framework for an interesting moral choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where you think that leads.
Well, do you feel like, because this could be, depending on how that arc comes in the story, like mid-game possibly, or slightly later if things are really ramping up, do you feel then that the choice is going to be given to the player, or this is going to be like a written story beat that is, hey, you've been on this journey with them and now you aren't getting to decide, but the characters are deciding to like carry on or go their separate ways? It's obviously more engaging if you make that choice yourself, but I feel like very difficult if it's, mid-game and you can either choose, yes, I'd like to carry on doing these things with, let's say, Lucia, and it's from Jason's perspective, or no, I don't. And then one of the characters disappears for the rest of the game. And you're like, okay, well, you've chosen this path. Now you don't get to see that character anymore because we've separated them. You just continue the rest of the game with main character A. That feels hard.
It would be really bold. I mean, this is what GTA 5 gives you, but it's almost after the law.
Right,
show.
And it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you choose, you still carry on in the open world and you still can play as all three characters.
Well, but you do get story implications from, like, if you kill Michael, like his house goes for sale, certain people don't hang out. There are some implications, but it's sort of done then anyway. And I think it's just to make you feel like maybe I've made the wrong decision. So all roads lead back to Death Wish. Let's do this together.
Yeah.
But, it's done. Now, a much bigger thing, let's say, and this is purely hypothetical, if you were asked, like you were saying, first third of the game or halfway through to go kill, defect Jason or Lucia, and then the other character is absent for 50% plus of the story, that would be huge. That's, that's something movies sometimes do, where they'll go, big, this is the classic of the genre. Cover your ears if you haven't watched all the shark movies in the world. That's Samuel L. Jackson.
Wow, what a reference.
In that shark movie that escapes me. But all of the pre-promotional trailers made it feel like he was a major character. He was by far the biggest star power in that film. And spoilers, I can't remember the name of the film. It's one of the big shark movies.
Deep Blue Sea?
Could be Deep Blue Sea. And look, spoilers, cover your ears. He doesn't get much further than about 10% of the way through that film. And it's a dramatic choice to effectively say all bets are off.
It is Deep Blue Sea.
Well done, James. That's great. Like all people can die.
Yes.
And the marketing campaign was sort of deliberately misleading to create that effect in the thing. Now, it would be really crazy bold, I think, if Rockstar did something quite as dramatically similar to go, imagine you play 90% of the game as Lucia or Jason because there's a flashpoint. I can
see that.
Do you actually think they would do something like that?
I think it would be a talking point. Now, whether it's something that you can actually affect, like you're given the choice, let's say, and you choose one or the other, but actually what happens by you choosing is the cutscene either plays out one way or the other, but that person is going to die. Yeah. So it's like you feel like you've made a choice and you either get, like the good cutscene where the thing that you said, actually, yes, I want to leave happens, or the bad cutscene where that person dies and it's like slightly different, but then the rest of the story plays out without that person, and they can sort of write it in a way that writes them out, but is ambiguous enough to go, did they get shot or have they just left? Doesn't really matter. Would give you the feeling of a choice without actually giving you that choice. I think that's an easier way to make that game rather than having to battle with the like, you're effectively making a game and then another half of the game because you have to make it twice, right?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, they've had long enough.
Yeah,
Maybe it's fine.
Could they? Definitely. Like, they've had enough time to technically do that. But yeah, that's quite a bold choice. They're potentially quite divergent paths. It's an exciting talk. I think it's too bold. Like, if I'm honest, I think it's too bold. I think they're far more likely to, like 4, give you a series of cosmetically morally perplexing choices, which ultimately don't make that big a difference all tributaries lead to the same river.
Yeah.
And then maybe, and this is what they've done to this point, at the end, giving you a much bigger choice. It's whether, like you speculated, like whether there's a different twist here. And like the Red Dead games have maybe explored this more fully with probably quite more dramatic conclusions. I don't know if you see anything in what Red Dead has done that they might carry through.
I mean, that's the most recent game, so I guess it's our most recent reference point to go, what happened at the end of Red Dead 2? And for those of you who have played it will know, you do not play as the same character as you do for some of the rest of that game after the credits roll. Is there a world in which they could do something like that in GTA 6? Maybe. And I was going to say, but it might not feel the same having, going in a car and driving around with a different character than not the one you've spent 40 or 50 hours with, or however many hours it's going to be. But it felt all right in Red Dead, so maybe it's fine. And you've done the story bit of it, and then you're on to something else. So, like, they could introduce a different character, or, as we've talked about before, it could be your GTA Online character somehow, that you create another character at the end of the game, and then that becomes the one who lives in the world, which is also the one that you use to go and play GTA Online. That could happen. Or, as you said, there's a third character we haven't met yet that could become an integral part of this story.
Now, I can't imagine they would do literally what's happened in previous Rockstar games. Let's say, for example, right, Jason and Lucia, or Jason or Lucia, have a child or a sibling or someone younger. There might be a world where, based on previous experiences, you get to play as that character. But as I say it, I'm mentally ruling it out because it feels very much like GTA 6 is set now, like 2025, whatever. Like it's modern day, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if Jason or Lucia, or Jason and Lucia, had a child, in order to be in an interactive environment with that child, we'd have to skip forward, let's say, 20 years in time, which would leave a section of GTA 6 set in the 2040s.
Yeah. And it was easier for Red Dead because that 20-year progression back in ye olde times didn't really change much. So it's fine.
It felt like you could fake it. And it was harder to question as well because none of us lived it. So had you, been a person from that period and gone, that kind of Smith & Wesson pistol didn't exist in that, that doesn't feel like a problem. But I think if you were to try and speculate about the world of today, and maybe it won't be that different, right? But you look at the current growth of AI and various different things, you feel like a little bit like it might be like living in the Jetsons. Like there's a slight worry about how the world looks in 20 years from now.
Maybe it is going to space.
So, wow. But it was such a big thing to try to depict the world of 2040.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's almost to the point where I think that's not where they'll go with this. What I think, the flip of that, maybe this is not so much about the ending, it's more of a, but what about before? And we talked about this on the podcast, is don't go forward, go back. And like we've talked about, could you play as a third character in the past? Vice City era or something. That's an easier thing to depict. And the idea of that is to create a different perspective on maybe something that's being lived out today based on one set of information. But you could, and this would be, I think, a really fun dynamic, use the past to inform the present and change people's viewpoint of a certain situation or a set of beliefs. Because it seems like the theme of GTA 6 is trust. You've got two characters who have been brought together who potentially... I think the interesting thing, as I said many times on the podcast, the interesting thing in the world to talk about right now, even though it's too on the nose, is the fact that people have never been more divided. We live in social media bubbles. By adhering to one set of beliefs, you almost 100% sign up to not believing a single thing of the other side. It feels horrific and unsustainable, right? And that's how social media makes you feel. And then people who live in those bubbles have a certain belief set, and people who live in the other bubble have a different belief set, and never the two shall mix. It's like a version of, and I won't go too far down this road, like the prisoner's dilemma game in economics, where you have like choices of like defect or collaborate. And collaborate's the best outcome, where you work together to do something, but it's too tempting to defect in case the other person defects and you end up hurting each other in the process. You could have that play out through the mechanics of GTA 6, almost like Jason and Lucia should work together, but for different reasons they feel like the other one can't be trusted, or can they? That could keep playing out. And you could explore that even further as the viewer outside it by going back to the past and going, this thing happened, but actually you think it went this way, but it went that way.
Yeah.
That's complicated, right? But
it's complicated, and it works, I think, in a story setting type of thing where you can just go, we're just going back 10 years to replay this whole thing, and we're going to show you it from a different angle. When it comes to the end of the game, I think that's much more difficult, because you can't, like, the whole point of post credits in open world games and Rockstar games is you get to go and explore the world without the limitations of anything, basically. You can drive around and do whatever you want and collect all of the secret packages and do all the hunting missions and everything like that. So I think the world as it ends in the main game probably has to continue to exist in the post game in the same setting. Otherwise you're like, where's that package gone? And it's like, well, that was 10 years ago. You can't go get that anymore. The choice between killing one of the characters, I think would be, like you say, maybe too difficult to do as a main character. Could I see it happening with a side character that maybe locks off a few missions that are always side missions anyway, if you end up going down the, actually, I don't want to work with this person anymore? I think it could give you that kind of choice where maybe it's two of the side characters and one of them has to, you have to double cross one of them, and that is going to have an effect for the rest of the game. That's much easier to do, I think, because then you just take their marker off the map and they don't exist anymore. I think, and it all comes back to what you were saying, expanding on those choices that they've played with before, which is choice, and making it feel like you're impacting the world. The best way to do that is get rid of one of the people that you've been hanging around with for a few hours. And doing it with a side character, I think, is something that I could see happening, that you don't lose anything as a player that much, but you do miss out on a few missions, but you can go and replay it and then see the missions later. Like, that feels easier.
Yeah, and it could be things like, and we don't know all of the allegiances, but like, say you've got someone like, in Jason's circle, like Cal Hampton, who Lucia may see as, and this is the tale as old as time, a couple get together and then one partner may encourage the other one to shake off all their old loser friends or whatever it is.
Don't like him. Don't stop hanging
don't
around
hang out with him. There may be stuff like that, and that could be decision making where you almost, but that would relate potentially to a bigger theme of like information bubbles and people who affirm your worldview and how you break out of it. That would be more interesting to me, and I think an interesting thing for the story would be to have everything you believe to be true flipped back on you, forced to live through the eyes of someone who's got a completely different viewpoint. I think that would be interesting, because in the real world, we've become incredibly poor at doing that. I guess you could say a little bit that's what The Last of Us Part 2 did, where it's sort of
Yeah.
made you look through two different perspectives. But that's still a very prescient theme that I think would be interesting if Rockstar wanted to explore it. They may feel it's too... I'm not saying doing it for an explicit political lens. That's not what it's about at all. It's more about the broader thing of, if you only see and hear certain opinions, you think a certain way. But if you're exposed to an entirely different narrative, does it actually throw your worldview and the decisions you make into... That would, for me, would be an interesting framework to overlay over the entire game. And then for the characters, like we said, would it be a decision of Jason saying, do I actually want to become lawful, regulated, calm, or am I a child of chaos and I've got to embrace it and this is what I want? Or for her, it's like, is material gain or whatever we think she wants really the be all and end all? Or is the third path, it's us together, that's the decision, and the things we both thought we wanted aren't the things, it's this new way. That's like bloody Mass Effect 3. That's the fusion ending or whatever it is. There's some of the ways they could go with that. And I don't know it all depends on where they put the pieces on the table and where it goes. But you just need to get characters brushing up against their belief set, because that's character growth and it's conflict. And that's what good storytelling is. So you've got to look at what we're told the motivations of each character is, and that's how they should be tested. Like, there's so many ways this could go. I suspect they'll do some iteration of what they've done before, like moral choices, bigger decision near the end. But like, I don't know, like, have they got one big rug pull? Are they going to do something that's like, like the time when people bought Metal Gear Solid 2, holy smokes, you were not playing as the guy you thought you were. Mm. That's a giant rug pull. And to do something of that scale in a game the size of GTA would be astonishing, to the point where I actually don't think it would happen. To that scale.
Yeah, sure. Well, just before we move on, let me throw this at you. What about at the end, and this is going way down the rabbit hole now, that choice is made by the characters. Lucia wants to stay in that world and continue to like do whatever she's doing. Jason is like, actually, now I am going to go straight and join the police force. And then post-credits, you get to choose who you're controlling. Jason does all of the crime prevention bits where you're going around and stopping people robbing little grocery stores and things. And then Lucia is like your chaos agent and can go off around the world and do all of the sprees that you want to do.
So you play, it'd be fun in the post game to play as a cop or
I
mean, I don't know if I think that's true, but what I do think is to play it out is it would be an interesting way to introduce people to the concept of role playing and get online.
It very much would.
So you can go, you've had a little taster of this. Now go onto our role playing server and play as a traffic cop or whatever the thing is they induce you to do. But some element of that would be a good piece of GTA empire building for them. So, I mean, look, we don't know. We don't know. We can see what's said about the characters. We can see what they've done in the past. If we knew, well, that would spoil it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So the fun is the guessing game. So,
well, there you go. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our little chat and some of the mad theories that we've thrown around. Let us know in the comments if you've got anything else to add, or you can email us at gtavioclock@gmail.com. Well, we were just talking about what would happen at the end of the game and how the map will still be there and it'll be a big open world. But while we're talking about the map, there has been some more speculation from some mapping project members who believe that Port Gellhorn has been taking inspiration from Panama City in Florida, not Panama, the country. That's important because we had to have a discussion about that before we started recording this. Port Gellhorn, we believe on the GTA 6 map, is roughly where you would find Tampa in real life. Roughly. It's like the other side of the state to where Miami is. But Panama City in real life is like right up on the west of the Panhandle in Florida. It's a small-ish sort of coastal town and not in the location that you'd expect it to be, knowing what we know about Port Gellhorn. So what does all of this mean? I think it means it's just another example of Rockstar taking elements of the whole state of Florida and cherry picking the things that they need and moving them around to fit in GTA 6's world map, which is an interesting thing for them to do because we've never really seen them do this before. Like, you've had a representation of LA in GTA 5, but it was just LA. There wasn't any like small towns that were around there. Like, obviously in GTA 5 we had like Sandy Shores, not really a town. There's not really another built up area that you could visit. So it was just one city. And I think where we're at with 6 is we believe that there'll be multiple built up areas, not necessarily giant cities, but at least like suburbs or communities that are self-sufficient and have, you know, a different vibe. There's different shops there. There are people who live there. You went to Sandy Shores and it was basically some caravans and a couple of houses that you could walk around in, but there's no life to it. Whereas I think in 6, they're going to feel like you're in Vice City and you can go to Port Gellhorn and it will feel like it's different, but it will be built up. You can still go in places. There'll be shops, there'll be houses, there'll be people there living their lives. But it's interesting to see them taking different elements of Florida rather than just going, well, we need to put Tampa over here. And I think we talked about it before we came on. Putting Tampa over there probably leads to more problems than it's worth, right?
Yeah, we were talking off air about, is Tampa just literally too big to it would be competitive in size to Miami, and then GTA has always really had like one dominant city or central hub. It makes sense. It's the place the gamer, the player always goes back to. It's not like you're choosing between living in two equal sized cities. Now, in real life, Tampa's like ever so slightly smaller than Miami. Like, Miami's population is 442,000. Tampa's 384,000. But that's pretty close, though, right? Like, it's close enough to be. This is not Sandy Shores.
Yeah,
it's a really significant urban area, and even though it's more spread out, it's still, I think, too big and too competing to make sense. Where even though the geography of like Panama as we know it in Florida doesn't make sense, the scale of it and the creating a different zone and feel for the gamer would be, I don't know why I keep saying for the gamer like I've gone mad, makes more sense, right? Like it just would feel different. It's got a different vibe. It's a bit smaller, and that's what you want. You want like the satellite areas, towns or cities to be, not as big as Miami itself, but worth visiting.
Yes.
Interesting. Not somewhere you go for one mission to meet one character and we've painted 3 hot dog stands on a 2D billboard. Like, it's not that. It should be somewhere that's worth visiting in its own right. So that would make more sense to the theory of it's more like Port Gellhorn's more like Panama than it is Tampa.
Yeah. And they've actually been discussing this on the GTA forums. Shout out to everyone listening who is on the GTA forums. There's a couple of good points on here. Kevin said, in my opinion, the size of Tampa and Orlando might have ironically disqualified them. Rockstar probably figured that for destinations on the map that are meant to be fully fledged cities and towns, but not as big as Vice City, instead of having another metropolis full of skyscrapers, it would be better to try and replicate smaller cities so that they stand out more from the glamour of Vice. And then Sir Salty said, going with Clewiston, yes, and Panama City over the other big cities in Florida means you get to represent more of the variety of the state. You know, you don't just get major cities and some countryside. You get a major metropolitan area, and you get a mid-sized, sleazy holiday town, and you get a small industrial town that's past its prime. And then in addition to all that, you get the countryside and the other small stuff.
Yeah.
All makes sense to me that is the kind of vibe that they're going for. Lots of different locations with lots of different feels and people and atmospheres. It's just going to be condensed into the worlds of GTA 6's map, rather than having all of these places spread over a frankly ridiculously sized state for a game, right? Like you
Yes.
don't want to drive all the way up to Panama City from Miami because it would take you like, far too long.
In real life, a ludicrous amount of time. And even an in-game geography could potentially be quite annoying.
And that was, as we've talked about before, one of the problems that GTA 5 had is once you get out of the city and go up north, it's just countryside, really. There's not really a lot of things up there. So it's moving these things around to give us enough things to do and enough interesting bits to go and see and interact with in the world. So I like this theory. I can see Port Gelhon being a mixture of a couple of different small places around Florida, but let's keep looking at those screenshots and keep seeing what we can identify. And now for something a little bit creative, Dan. I hope you're going to enjoy this.
Wow, I love creative.
We are going to have a little look at GTA 6's box art and what that could potentially look like. So before we jump into this, I have a question. Do you think Rockstar are going to follow the traditional box art for GTA games, which they've done with like the mosaic, different images with the logo in the middle? Or could they surprise everyone and go with something completely different?
Do I think Nike or Nike are replacing the tick with an X? No. I think that the box art is the iconic box of probably any video game.
Good.
And you want brand recognition. So for the main... There's also another conversation about how many boxes will there be, so they can be largely digital, right? But it will still be like the key art that represents the cover, etc. They're going to use that framework.
Yeah.
It's obvious, right? They're going to. They have to. They'd be insane to change it. You might have a special edition where you did something different.
Like a steelbook that's not that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The main thing will look like that. It's just you go against everything that marketing is about and brand recognition to change it.
I mean, it has been in place since about GTA 3, so it would be quite the move. But hey, as we talked about, things are different with 6, it seems. So, but I fully agree. I think it's going to be the mosaic, which is good because that is the thing that I've gone for.
Phew.
So, since Vice City Stories through GTA 4, episodes from Liberty City and GTA 5, the box art has followed quite a specific pattern, which is good for us. Which means that using like the new screenshots and images from the trailers, I think can develop a pretty accurate representation of what the GTA 6 box art is going to look like for you in front of your very eyes, Dan, and the viewers and listeners. Well, I say listeners, if you're listening, it's probably not for you. So if you are listening, maybe for this section, jump over to YouTube so you can actually see the mosaic come to life. So first things first, it has a mosaic. There are a number of boxes on the mosaic. It's always, it's always been between 8 and 9 boxes. Now, what I'm going to do is use the GTA 5 layout as a template for the grid. Now, the grid, I'm sure, is going to be slightly different than this. And actually, I have modified it a little bit to make some of the things work. But I think this gives us 8 boxes. If we look at past GTA boxes, we know that in the top left, there is always a helicopter. Always.
Correct.
So
that's actually eight games: GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, Liberty City Stories, Vice City Stories, GTA 4, episodes from Liberty City, and 5 all had a chopper in the top left. So it's a safe bet, right?
Let's add a chopper into the top left then.
Bold.
Now, some of these things, I will say this now, are going to be taken from the screenshots. Now, the box art is normally stylized in a way. So these images are representations of probably what's going to go in here. I think the actual image will be a bit more stylized to the artwork of Jason and Nasir that we've seen in GTA 6. But anyway, helicopter, top left. Top right, motorbike, always, pretty much. So I think safe to say top right, motorbike.
It's less it's a sidebar. Motorbike is less of a lock than chopper, but it's more probable. So they've previously had GTA 3 had a face. I think it was Catalina. I might be getting that wrong. San Andreas had a signpost. But we had motorbike on 5 episodes from Liberty City, 4, and Vice City Stories. So that's 5 out of 8 pack shots of bike.
And the most recent pack shots.
Yeah, and the last 4, the trend, the form table dictates it's motorbike. So, again, this is playing the odds. You're going to go motorbike, aren't you?
I have gone motorbike.
Love it.
So
love
here
it.
you go. Here's
Can't
a motorbike.
argue with it.
Great. We're moving around the grid. We're not going in order because why would we do that? The bottom row, now this is, depending on the number of grid slots you have, is either 2 or 3 down here.
Yeah.
We've gone for 2, but the bottom row normally has a form of transportation in it. Usually a car.
Yeah.
And I think if we're talking about GTA 6, this probably has to be Jason and Lucia's car, like the red one. Also, there aren't many other screenshots of cars that are going to fit in this box that I've got, so I'm just putting in Jason and Lucia's car down here. But I think car down here is a pretty safe bet. Now we're getting into the exciting part. Middle right, next to the logo, is I'm going character, male, most likely the lead. In most cases, it's the lead character. So we got to put Jason in here, right?
Yeah, history again would dictate. This is bizarre, right? There's whether they're rules or just the way it happened. In GTA pack shots of yore, the male character always goes on the right, and then we'll get to this in a minute, but the female character is often on the left. So I think maybe I've spoiled that.
Well, should we do them at the same time?
But that is the historical pattern.
Yeah.
And whether, again, maybe there's a style document for this, or the designer goes, oh, what did we do 10 years ago? Oh, yeah. What did we do 10 years before that?
I mean, these 3 or 4 things feel like there is a style guide. Like it feels like, you have to follow this pattern if we're doing this thing. Bike, helicopter, lead character goes here, other lead character goes here. So, as you said, middle left, usually a woman over here somewhere. Whether she's the lead or not is changed throughout the games, but they haven't had a female lead,
exactly.
right?
So there's not been a choice. They've often chosen an attractive woman from the plot, but now they've got Lucia.
Yeah,
who's attractive and a lead character
and a woman. Great.
Yes. Tick tick tick.
What are we thinking so far? We like this vibe?
Do you know? I think I'm going to say I agree with 4 out of 5 of the choices so far.
Oh, okay.
And there's only and we can get, and I haven't seen the final box, so I may end. Let's see. Let's see.
So under the logo, the little gap that we've got there, from GTA 4 and GTA 5's box art, it is another mode of transportation that is sort of significant to the game. I think the GTA 4 one is a cable car / tram.
It is. Yes, it is.
And the GTA 5 one is a jet ski.
Yeah.
Now for GTA 6, you'd say jet ski, actually, good choice. It's Miami vibes. It works. But I'm going to say that's probably too similar to the GTA 5 one. If you put another jet ski in that place, maybe people won't remember, but they're going to side by side them. So I've gone for a boat. And it's a boat from trailer 1 because it's sort of the best representation of a boat I've got. As I say, I think the things that are in these pictures are broadly correct, but the actual pictures are probably going to change because they ain't using that shot of the boat. I don't think it'll be a much nicer shot of the boat. Now that's left us with 2 spots left to go. We got top, middle, and bottom left. I will say at this point, I'm not in love with the color scheme that this is building. Like it's not screaming Vice City Miami to me. It's a bit grey in places.
We're working with what we have. Neil,
exactly.
Obviously. The actual one, like you say, it's stylized interpretations.
Yeah.
They're not using screenshots. They're using the art, aren't they? And
which we've done for the characters, which does actually look pretty on brand.
Yeah.
It's just the other ones haven't had artwork versions.
And look, I dare say, James, at the end of all of this, we could ask our friend artificial intelligence, i.e., to do a pass on it.
Sure. But make this like the rest of it, please.
Make this look like in the right style. But you're right. There's as someone who used to design magazine covers or worked with a designer making magazine covers for 10 years, the image selection is absolutely everything. And like, it's the you have to use a unified style, otherwise it looks a bit hodgepodge.
Yes.
So you want to use like all artwork in this style, it's bright, it's this, and then it feels like a GTA game. But I've got to say, I feel like the choices, we're more than on the right path.
I think we're okay. So of the two that we've got left, bottom left, now these two are like the tricky ones because they don't seem to follow as much as a pattern of the rest of them. Bottom left for GTA 5 had a dog down there. Now, they were new for the game, so it was a good representation of like, hey, look what we've got in the game now. So are we thinking a new animal could go down here that is going to be a prevalent part of GTA 6?
Is it the iguana in a Hawaiian shirt?
I wanted it to be the iguana in a Hawaiian shirt.
Will it?
No, and it had a woman in it, or it was facing the wrong way, and it didn't really work. So I did really want to put in an iguana. But then I thought, what other animals are they going to have? Alligators. Alligators pretty big in Vice City / Miami.
Yeah.
So that's probably a better fit. There is not an amazing picture of an alligator, but there's one that sort of works. So we can add one in now.
There we go. Alligators, sadly, this is I've got to stress to everyone, this is a fun thought exercise, right? We're not saying this is definitively the pack shot, even though there is science underpinning it, right? But like a alligator is long and horizontal, and this box is vertical. So annoyingly, it doesn't fill the shape as you would like it to. Rockstar can do what they want.
Yeah, I imagine a stylized version of this is the alligator with his mouth open, and like you could see him almost front on, and his tail goes back.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it would be. I think you could do it in a good way.
Exactly.
If you put an alligator
you could
down
totally
there.
make it work.
Which just leaves us with the top middle image. Again, previously it's been filled with another main character shot. Sometimes I think GTA 4 had another image of Nico.
Yeah, it doubled up on Nico. One was like him with a sniper rifle. One with his face front on.
Yeah, so it's not out of the question that this could be another main character image. But we've also seen like zoomed in images of like a gun in this sort of position. Now, previous box arts, this is an interesting question, have featured secondary characters or just random characters sometimes. Do you think this slot could be reserved for a secondary character, like someone that we've already met? Or do you think we're going to go a bit more abstract? Because my feeling is putting a secondary character on the box art almost elevates them to too higher a status. Like it makes them feel like, unless they are a very significant part of the game, putting them, and it's like top middle as well. It's quite a big slot to put someone that you're not really going to play as. I don't know. And if they were gonna do that, who do they pick?
I think it will be, and you might be totally disagree with this, I think they will use someone like Booby Ike or Real Dimes. I think, and I say that because I think this is actually one of the most representative casts in a GTA game, where you have a female lead, you've got lots of strong black characters. I think they will want to use someone who represents a cast diversity. Some people listening might go, "Oh my God, DEI!" But like that is how the cast is assembled.
Yeah.
Now that might be what they do. I got to stress this is so hypothetical, but I want to see where you've taken it, James.
Well, I did think about Booby Ike and actually Real Dimes and putting them in there, and I went back and forth with the discussion we've just had. Like, is it too much putting a secondary character in there?
Yeah.
So actually, I went for the easy option and just went for a big old stack of money.
Oh, money!
Now, the money is being held by Booby Ike, so I'm getting a slight reference in there.
Yeah, I'm going to say I 100% agree with 4.5 of the choices, maybe 5.
I mean, 100% is a percentage that you never normally give out.
I know,
so
I feel with extremely high conviction it will be a helicopter in the top left.
Yeah.
It always has been. And it's just stupid. And like, whether it was intentional or not, it's become a trend that they almost feel obliged to continue. Motorbike, it's not 100%, but it's probable. Is it going to feature Jason and Lucia? Yes. And there's an unwritten rule about men on the right, women on the left. Ridiculous, but I think they'll follow that to the point. Bottom right could be car. I'm like more in than out on that, but not 100%. What an interesting thing is on the previous Vice City pack shots, and I say that for Vice City and Vice City Stories, it's always been, in the 2 previous occasions I've got to stress, boat bottom left. Now, whether that's looking through that lens, just looking at Vice City pack shots. So, like, it could be boat bottom left, other weird mode of transport central middle.
Or alligator central middle, because that would be side on, and he could be eating the logo. He's not going to eat the logo, but
He won't eat the logo.
that would be one of the designs.
But we're so in the realms of the hypothetical. But if I was to make one bet, it would be based on Vice City historical patterns. Boat is bottom left. Also, to stress, there's different grids.
Yes.
So there's like the Grand Theft Auto pack shot was essentially a square grid. It was actually 12 tiles, some of which were doubled up, where, like you say, other ones have cut 8, some have gone 9. So it depends on which way they lean with it. And I think some of it will be driven by, you're matching the shape of the character and the character art to fill the frame in the best way possible. I'm sure someone's job has been moving these tiles around for a minute, and they're in the meeting where no one knows which one is which anymore. They're like, oh my God, I can't look at it anymore. But I think there's so much here where you could go, yes, 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 yes. There's just a few tiles of uncertainty. So I think we're looking good.
All right, well, let's make it official then by whacking the old Rockstar stamp on there that is on every box art for GTA games. And there we go. The GTA 6 official box art as revealed by GTA 6 O'Clock, with some caveats that some of these things are definitely going to change. I like it. I like, as I was saying, as we were halfway building this, it's not like full of Miami vibes yet, but I think the 2 artworks of Jason and Lucia are in that realm, and I think all you need to do is change the color palette on some of these things slightly, and it will feel very much like a Vice City store of box art. So that will bring us to the end of the episode. Thank you all for watching. If you've got any comments about this box art or things that you think we should move around, let us know in the comments, and we might revisit this in the next couple of weeks. You can email us at gtavioclock@gmail.com, get in touch on Twitter at gtavoclock, and if you want more of this, but in text form, you can sign up to the GTA 6 O'Clock newsletter by Dan.
Gamesradar.com/newsletter. Choose GTA 6 O'Clock. Can I apologise to all who follow? There was no newsletter last week, and the reason is we were launching, as we do in our side lives, the Golden Joystick Awards, which was a massive undertaking, and that had to be the priority last week, I'm afraid. So sorry, no newsletter last week. Back on track this week. Do subscribe. It is free and wonderful.
Yes, the Golden Joystick Awards have actually launched, and if you want to go and vote for something, most wanted game, surprise, surprise, GTA 6 is in there that you can select from a list of about 20 upcoming games. You can pick your top 3. Obviously, we're picking GTA 6 as the number 1, but you do you. You might see some other games in there that you feel are more of your most wanted things for 2026.
Other video games are available. There's in fact 2 opportunities to vote for GTA should you wish. One is in the best game trailer category.
Of course.
One is in most wanted game. So if you want to do that, go and support, go and vote for all the wonderful games and the people who work hard to make them.
To do that, just search for Golden Joystick Awards or go to gamesradar.com and you should be able to find something on the homepage to click and then start your voting. Thank you all for listening this week. We will go away and read your comments as they start flooding in, and we'll be back for another episode of GTA 6 O'Clock.